S.A.D. Atlético Balears, Club Deportivo Atlético Balears S.A.D. Catalan. Club Esportiu Atlètic Balears is a Spanish football team based in Palma, Majorca, in the autonomous community of the Balearic Islands. Founded on 1920, it currently plays in Primera División RFEF Group 2, hosting games at Estadio Balear with a capacity of 6,000 seats. History. The history of the entity was for many years without work and without any reference work. That is why, due to inertia and tradition, the origin of the club is still located in 1942, although in recent times the origin of 1920 was proven documentary, increasingly known and accepted. The precedents I. Mecánico 1920 1920. On 3 April 1920, an article about the foundation of new soccer teams in Palma appeared in the Ultima Hora newspaper, until then created by fans of middle and upper social class. The following sentence stood out in the text: "En los talleres de la Ilina tengo noticias que se hacen preparativos para formar un team. In the Ilina workshops I have news that preparations are made to form a team." For the first time, a workers' extraction group formed a team in charge of the company's workers' Ilina Maritima, although naval machinists also participated in practices or students of this career. This team adopted the name of Mecánico. His shirt adopted the colors of the company, 3 vertical blue stripes on a white background, inspired by the initials IM on the blue background of the chimneys in the vapors of the Ilina Maritima. The pants were blue to take advantage, properly trimmed, the work overalls of their workers. The social premises were in the Café Can Rasca 67 Sant Miquel Street, before 187, corner with Arms of Palma. The team lacked field and played on an esplanade on the Mule de Palma, approximately where the former offices of the Ilina Maritima were located. The precedents Roman II Fundición Carbonell or Mallorca 1920. In same newspaper, another phrase stood out. En la fundición de los señores Carbonell se organiza otro once, que promete ser un terrible rival por la corpulencia de la gente obrera que se alista. In the founding of the Carbonell Lords another 11 is organized, which promises to be a terrible rival for the bulk of the working people who enlists. A team founded by workers of the Fundición Carbonell, a small metalworking company in the city. The team initially bore the same name of the company and subsequently adopted the name Mallorca. The team colors consisted of a totally white T-shirt and pants. He had his social place in Café Can Meca Arxiduc Luis Salvador Street, corner with avenues in Palma. He played his games in a field called Sa Sequia Real, the Royal Acequia, located between avenues Comte de Salant Avenue and Blanquerna Street of the city. Birth of Balears Football Club 1920. At one point the Mallorca before Fundición Carbonell left its social premises and went to the same one of the Mecánico. Due to the common labor extraction of the players and hobbies, there was soon attunement between them, and they decided to join to form a more powerful club. Thus, on 14 November or 20 November, depending on sources, a founding assembly was held that approved the merger of Mecánico and Mallorca with the name Balears Football Club, name unanimously accepted by the attendees considering it more regional and representative. The social club of the new club remained in the Café Can Rasca, which until then had been of both clubs. The pitch was the one that until then had used the Mallorca, Sa Sequia Real. As for the kit, the white and blue striped T-shirt of the Mecánico and the white pants of the Mallorca were adopted. The new team debuted on 21 November 1920, winning 5-0 in Tirador Velodrome to Velos Sport Balear, at that time one of the most powerful teams. The 20s and 30s. Growth and consolidation. In 1921, Balears FC played the first major tournament, the Copa Ayuntamiento of Palma, and was second in a tournament that won the RS Alfonso Roman 13 FC, current Real Mallorca. Since then the club was a regular at the local competitions. Soon a fierce rivalry was developed that went beyond sports, with the RS Alfonso Roman 13 FC, a team followed and supported by the most well-off classes, as opposed to a Balears FC whose origins came from the humblest estates. The new team achieved good results, although it almost touched him to play the role of eternal second by being overcome by his eternal rival, or, later, by the S.A.D Constancia of Inca. The rivalry Balears FC versus RS Alfonso Roman 13 Football Club remain until today with different names, until reaching the current Atlético Balears and Real Mallorca. Due to the growth of the club was built the new Sun Canals Stadium in 1923. Balears FC participated in the regional Balearic Championship, organized since 1923 by the Catalan Football Federation and since 1926 by the Balearic Islands Football Federation until the suppression in 1940. The club was always in the front line of the competition. It was runner-up 9 times of the Majorca Championship, only surpassed by RS Alfonso Roman 13 FC after S.A.D Mallorca or S.A.D Constancia of Inca. It won the Mallorcan Championship in 1927-28 season, although it lost the Balearic Championship final to the UD Mahan by 1-0. In other competitions he highlighted his triumph in the President of the Republic Cup, a tournament played by the first category teams of the Mallorcan Championship during the 1933-34, 1934-35 and 1935-36 seasons, with a trophy in dispute awarded by the then President Nisto Alcala Zamora. The Balears FC was awarded the second and third edition, and, consequently, the cup in dispute. The club was about to participate in the People's Olympiad in Barcelona, to be held from 19 to 26 July on 1936. The military uprising caused the players to meet casually in the Republican zone at the start of the Spanish Civil War. In 1940 changed his name Balears Football Club to Football Balears, bound by the guidelines of the Franco regime that forced the Castilianization of all sports terminology. Since 1940 played in Primera Regional de Mallorca, when the regional Balearic Championship became lower divisions of the Spanish Football League. Then the results resented and occupied low positions that threatened the descent to Segunda Regional de Mallorca, but not consummated. Fusion with Athletic FC 1942. The Palma Council approved in 1942 an urban planning that forced another club, the S.A.D Atlético, until 1941 Athletic FC, to leave his stadium Salpuntum. The club didn't have resources to get a new one and contacted other clubs to study a merger. First, he tried S.A.D Mallorca, but the negotiations broke down. The S.A.D Atlético wanted the new club to be called Atlético Mallorca, and the S.A.D Mallorca did not want any change. Then the S.A.D Atlético contacted the CF Balears. The agreement was reached and signed on 27 May 1942, which consisted of the following points. Modify the name Club de Football Balears to Club Deportivo Atlético Balears. Maintain the colors of the CF Balears, blue and white without variation of design. Continue the same headquarter and stadium of CF Balears, Sun Canals Stadium. Equality of the members according to origin of one or another club and parity in the board of directors. The agreement was legally embodied as a merger, but in practice was a merger by absorption of CF Balears over S.A.D Atlético. CF Balears' social mass was more numerous and its humble essence was imposed on the middle class of the S.A.D Atlético, and the new club inherited the rivalry of CF Balears with our S.A.D Mallorca S.A.D Atlético maintained. The name S.A.D Atlético was incorporated in the name of the entity, but the rest of its hallmarks, colors, stadium and shield disappeared. Pierre Serra, president of CF Balears, was invested president, and Francesc Riera, president of S.A.D Atlético, vice president. The 40s. Ascent to Tercera Division. The first season of Atlético Balears was 1942-43 and remained in Primera Regional. It only was surpassed by S.A.D Mallorca, a success, and both teams rose to the Tercera Division. The new category assumed to play against teams from the peninsula and caused additional logistical, economic, and displacement problems. During those years, the results were medium, with the exception of the third place achieved in the 1945-46 and 1946-47 seasons, and played the promotion to Segunda Division in 1946 for the first time. The 50s. Years of growth. In 1950-51 season, the team was champion of Tercera Division. It played the promotion, was champion, and ascended to Segunda Division for first time in its history, and remained for 2 seasons until return to Tercera Division in 1953. In Tercera Division, the team returned to the top positions. It was league champion in 1955-56 and played promotion in 1956, 1957, and 1958. But he failed to upgrade. The club lived a success, sports, and social vitality and decided to build a new stadium. The old Sun Canal Stadium had been small and the owners of the land threatened to evict. Since 1958, the project was approved, built and inaugurated on 8 May 1960 with a match against Birmingham City FC and winning the 2-0 stake. The 60s. Years of splendor. Few days after the inauguration of Estadio Balear, the club played the promotion, but neither did it again. But the positive dynamics were unstoppable, and in 1960-61 season, he was champion of Tercera Division and won the promotion to Segunda Division. The club remained in Segunda Division the seasons 1961-62 and 1962-63, and in the latter descended to Tercera Division. Despite the decline, maintained considerable potential, since it always finished in the top positions and was classified for the promotion phase in 1964, 1965, 1966, and 1968, but he failed to ascend. In these years, the championships of Tercera Division of 1965 and 1968 stand out. The 70s. Institutional and sportive crisis. Since end of the 60s, the club was worsening its economic situation and gradually worsened its results with increasingly dangerous classifications, until in 1972-73 season descended to regional preferent and remained 2 seasons. The Tercera Division was recovered in 1974-75 season, but the results continued to be mediocre. For the season 1977-78 was created the Segunda Division B, and the team went up from Tercera Division. But that season finished the last and returned to Tercera Division, in which again it obtained poor classifications. To the crisis of the club, we must add the disappearance of direct sports rivalry with Real Mallorca. From the 1979-80 season, the derby stopped, except the plays in Nicolau Brando Trophy during 80s and 90s, or 1986-87 season of Copa del Rey. The 80s. Bottoming and sports boom. Again in Tercera Division now was, in fact, a 4th-level. Disappointing sporting results continued until a new descent to regional preferent in 1980-81 season. Socially and economically there was no peace in the club, and the team spent 2 seasons to climb. After return to Tercera Division in 1983-84 season, the team returned to top positions and dispute the promotion to Segunda Division B in 1986, despite not achieving it. But a restructuring of the Segunda Division B extended it from 2 to 4 groups helped the club and ascended in 1986-87 season. This was its second ascent to Segunda Division B. The team remained 3 seasons in Segunda Division B, 1987-88, 1988-89, and 1989-90. During the 1988-89 season, the team was very close to leadership, that then provided the direct ascent to Segunda Division, but the next season descended again to Tercera Division. Further, an endemic economic and institutional problems were added: the bad state of the Estadio Balear and the poor assistance to the matches. Even when the team was near to direct ascent to Segunda Division, the ticket office was scarce. The 90s. Deceptive stability, ability. After returning to Tercera Division in 1990, the team entered into a bittersweet sports dynamic that lasted for more than a decade. First, the club always played a good role in the league between 1990-91 and 2001-2 seasons. The team qualified in the top four except in 1992-93 to play the promotion to Segunda Division B, and in addition, it was league champion 4 times. At least sportingly, the club worked. But the promotion to Segunda Division B always ended disastrously. The club disputed it in 1991, 1992, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000. This demoralized the club, the fans, and that ended up taking its toll. In those years, all teams of Balearic Islands suffered from the same evil when they faced teams from the peninsula, because the Tercera Division Balearic group had a lower level in relation to other groups, and Atletico Balears was no exception. The 2000s sinking and almost disappearing. After playing 11 promotion phases, frustrated in 12 seasons between, the entity plummeted in every way. Extra sports problems, always latent, eventually affected its performance. The institutional instability worsened. The relations between the club and the community of co-owners of Estadio Balear Procampo were getting worse. The change of managers and players were constant. Seasons 2002-03 and 2003-04 were sportingly poor, but 2004-05 was the total collapse of the club. Players did not charge and often did not have enough to complete the calls. Base football was dismantled. The internal confrontations caused that Procampo prohibited the use of Estadio Balear to the club and had to play in a municipal stadium. The reigning chaos inevitably harmed the team and descended to regional preferent. That was one of the darkest moments in the history of the club, since the entity was about to disappear after 85 years. The 2000s Roman II. Recovery at all levels. Since 2005, the club entered into a dynamic of economic and sports regeneration. It obtained the first support of the German real estate entrepreneur residing in Mallorca Matthias Kuhn, and later the entrepreneur Bartomeu Kursach. The team became champion of regional preferent the 2005-06 season and returned to Tercera Division just 1 year after. The 2006-07 season was planned as a year of consolidation in Tercera Division, but the team was 6th ranked and very close to playing the promotion to Segunda Division B. The 2007-08 season was planned to aim for promotion, and the team was champion of Tercera Division and qualified for promotion to Segunda Division B. First, the S.A.D Universidad. Thus, the club returned in Segunda Division B after 18 years. But the 2008-09 season was a failure. The team ended up a group's latest and returned to Tercera Division. The 2009-10 season began with the same objectives 2 years before, to be champion and ascend. As 2 years earlier, the team won the Tercera Division League Championship and qualified to play the promotion to Segunda Division B. It played with S.A.D Tudelano, champion of the Navarrese group of Tercera Division. The team won the first match in Estadio Balear 1-0 and lost in the lap in Tudela 2-1, but thanks to the double value of the goals in the opposite decade of 2010s consolidation in Segunda Division B and conversion into S.A.D. On return to Segunda Division B in 2010-11 season, the team achieved mathematical permanence in the absence of 2 matches. It was the 6th season in the category, but the season was much more momentous at an extra sports level, with the beginning of its transformation into public limited sports company S.A.D. On 5 May 2011, an extraordinary assembly of members approved the conversion of the club into S.A.D by a very large majority, with the aim of promoting the club to Segunda Division short term. During the assembly also was announced the purchase of land for the construction of the future sports city of the club, which was achieved on 26 September 2012, 1 day before the celebration of the first general meeting of shareholders. Finally, the project did not move forward because it was not approved by the institutions. The conversion process in S.A.D. culminated on 27 September 2012 with the first general meeting of shareholders and the election of its first board of directors. The 2011-12 season was marked with the objective of qualifying among the top four to play promotion to Segunda Division. After a brilliant regular league, the team was proclaimed champion of its group of Segunda Division B2 matches for the conclusion of the championship. The team disputed the promotion of champions with S.A.D Mirandés for direct ascent, but not beat this tie 1-0 in Miranda de Ebro and 1-2 in Estadio Balear, and was forced to play the second round. Then play with S.A.D Lugo, and it could not overcome either 3-1 in Lugo and 0-0 in Estadio Balear, and was permanently eliminated. For the 2012-13 season, the club once again made a great economic investment to qualify for promotion to Segunda Division, but the team travelled half a table throughout the championship, and even it came to suffer for maintaining the category because it assured the permanence only 2 matches after day's conclusion. Whether or not it was due to bad sports results at the end of the season, President Fernando Crespi and the club's top shareholder, Bartomeu Kursac, announced his retirement from the front line of the club. The 2013-14 season was planned very differently. The institutional crisis suffered by the club, the progress of the main investors, and the survival of the club in question, forced to make a modest team economically and to maintain the category. But from the beginning it was in the first places of the classification, and was even a leader in many days. A loose final straight left the team in 5th position and out of promotion positions. Decade of 2010s Roman II. The Volkmann era, Copa RFEF and promotion aspirations. Institutionally, after 2013, the main shareholders of the entity, President Fernando Crespi and the businessman Bartomeu Kursac, decided to stop financially supporting the club that entered into an institutional and economic crisis that led to its judicial intervention. The situation worsened, and in April 2014, the club entered into a bankruptcy proceedings, with Demetrio Madrid Alonso as bankruptcy administrator appointed by the courts of Palma de Mallorca on 5 May the club. Since 2 June 2014, the club has come under the control of Ingo Volkmann, a German businessman based in Mallorca, after he acquired 51% of the shareholding package, and at the end of October of the same year the club left the bankruptcy proceedings. The following year, on 21 March 2015, a capital increase of €3 million was carried out that reaffirmed the ownership of the new property. Since then, the economic stability of the club, currently S.A.D, has been absolute, unlike previous times. In 2014-15 season, with the institutional crisis already resolved and the survival of the club guaranteed thanks to the new property, the club hoped to repeat the good role from the previous season. But the team moved for low positions throughout the championship and even suffered to achieve permanence until the final leg of the league, becoming finally 12th. The 2015-16 season in Segunda Division B was planned again, but during the league championship the team moved through intermediate positions without suffering to maintain the category. Finally, the team finished in 9th position. But unlike the league championship, the team made a brilliant campaign in another competition, the 23rd edition of Copa RFEF, with the achievement of the title. After overcoming the regional phase, the team went through rounds and rivals until the final, with CF Rayo Majorca that defeated to double game 2-2 in Majorca and 1-0 at home, and provide the club the first absolute national title in its history. The 2016-17 season was initially like the previous one. A team with promotion aspirations was remade, keeping Christian Ziege as coach, but again he offered a lower performance than expected, through the middle of the table, and this time removed to the Copa RFEF. The change of coach for Josico Morno resulted a spectacular comeback that put the team in 4th place and to promotion to Segunda Division on the last day. In first round, the team managed to beat S.A.D Toledo 1-1 at home and 1-2 at Toledo, but it fell in second round against Albacete Ballampi 1-1 at home and 2-1 in Albacete. During the same season, several commemorative events of 75 years of the merger absorption of Balears FC and Athletic FC took place. The main act was a historical exhibition in Caixa Forum Palma with a collection of photographs, objects and trophies, as well as references to the origin of the club in 1920. A gala dinner closed the events. For 2017-18 season, the team had a performance below expectations, and the coach was stopped mid-season. The situation remained unimproved, with the team in relegation positions to Tercera division. The hiring of Mannix Mandiola was providential, and he managed, and in extremis, he could to save the team on the last day of the championship. The great incentive of this season was that the local rival, the S.A.D. Mallorca, had dropped down and there would be a derby in the league after 38 years, a milestone that had an international impact. In San Malferit both teams tied 0-0, and in Sunway the S.A.D. Mallorca win by the minimum 3-2. Despite the sporting instability, institutionally the club was quiet. The highest shareholder since 2014, Ingo Volkmann, made a new economic investment through a restructuring of the capital stock that confirms and expands its ownership of the S.A.D. and at the same time ensures the future of the club in the long term. In 2018-19 season, the coach of Salvation, Mannix Mandiola, remained. After a hesitant start, the team managed to improve results, place themselves in the high zone of the classification, and occupy positions of promotion to Segunda Division at mid-season, and on day 25 he managed to gain the leadership of his group. It did not abandon this position until he won the championship in the absence of a day to finish the league. The team disputed the promotion to Segunda Division with another group champion, Racing de Santander, with direct promotion at stake, but did not overcome the tie 0-0 in El Sardinero and 1-1 in San Malferit, and it was forced to play the second round. The team beat first UD Melilla 0-0 at Melilla and 1-0 at home, and then it played the final round with CD Morans 2-0 in Miranda de Ebro and 3-1 at home. Due to the double value of the goals in the opposite field, the team failed to ascend and remained again in Segunda Division B. The 2019-20 season initially ran like the previous one. The team managed to place itself from the beginning among the first classified and held the leadership of the classification for much of the championship. But after the dispute on day 28 and being the leading team, on 11 March 2020 RFEF suspended the competition due to the COVID-19 pandemic, first for 2 weeks and then indefinitely. As a result of this fact, the club applicated of a layoff to the entire staff. Subsequently, on 6 May Federation confirmed the completion of the regular league and the dispute of a simplified promotion phase that the team would play as champion of his group. The team played the promotion against another group champion, FC Cartagena, in a single match with direct promotion at stake, but did not pass the tie 0-0 and 4-3 on penalties. Thus, it was forced to play a second round, first against Huey Cornella, but fell defeated again 0-1 and definitively eliminated. Rivalries. The most important rivalry maintained by the club is against S.A.D. Mallorca, a club of the same city. It is known as the Palma Derby. The S.A.D. Atletico Balears, then called Balears FC, was born in 1920 from workers and workers sectors of the city, and S.A.D. Mallorca, then called Real Sociedad Alfonso Roman 13 FC, was created in 1916 by politically and economically powerful social sectors. Today this character is very diluted, and both clubs are much more heterogeneous than in the beginning, but the foundational character is still very present. The rivalry has been maintained since the 1920s, despite the competing in different categories for many years from the 1960s onwards, and especially since the 1980s, when S.A.D. Mallorca made a significant improvement, and through the successive names of the two clubs, Balears FC from 1920 to 1942 and S.A.D. Atletico Balears. Season to season. Mallorca Regional Championship. Spanish Football League, Ball League. 4 seasons in Segunda División, 17 seasons in Segunda División B Primera División RFEF, 53 seasons in Tercera División, 8 seasons in Categorías Regionales. Current squad. As of 4 September 2021 note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Staff. Technical staff. Source: S.A.D. Atlético Balears. Notable coaches: Gustavo Severo, Ignacio Martin Esperanza, Manix Mandiola. Presidents: Stadium. The Estadio Balear is actually the home stadium of the club, located in Palma. It was inaugurated in 1960 and was closed in 2013 because of its poor maintenance. It was reopened in 2019 with 6,000 seats and the pitch's dimensions are 100-67 meters, but the works had not finished. Previously, the home stadium was the Turador Velodrome 1920-21, Union Balears 1921-23 and Sun Canals 1923-60. During the closing of Estadio Balear, the team played in Magaluf in the neighboring municipality of Calvia 2013-14 and Sun Malferit between 2014 until the reopening of the stadium. Honors. National tournaments. Segunda División B. Winners 3 2011-12, 2018-19, 2019-20. Tercera División. Winners 11 1950-51, 1955-56, 1960-61, 1964-65, 1967-68, 1997-98, 1999-2000, 2001, 2001-2, 2007-8, 2009-10. Runners-up 10 1956-57, 1957-58, 1959-60, 1963-64, 1965-66, 1985-86, 1986-87, 1993-94, 1994-95, 1996-97. Regional preferent. Winners 3 1974-75, 1982-83, 2005-6. Primera Regional. Runners-up 1 1942-43. Copa Federación de España. Winners 1 2015-16. Copa Federación de España Autonomic Phase. Winners 2 2009-10, 2015-16. Runners-up 1 2003-4. Regional tournaments. Balears Regional Championship. Runners-up 1 1927-28. Mallorca Regional Championship. Winners 1 1927-28. Runners-up 9 1924-25, 1925-26, 1929-30, 1931-32, 1933-34, 1934-35, 1935-36, 1936-37, 1938-39. Copa President de la República. Winners 2 1935-1936. Liga Mallorca. Mallorca. Winners 2 1939, 1943. Runners-up 1 1936. Another tournaments. Trofeo Agriculture. Winners 4 2007, 2008, 2011, 2014. Runners-up 1 2010 and 1 2010. Copa Uruguay. Winners 4 1959, 1966, 1967, 1968. Runners-up 1 1964. Friendly tournament. Since 1966, the club have hosted the Trofeu Nicolau Brando, the oldest summer tournament in the Balearic Islands. The hosts have won the competition on 29 occasions.